Okay, guys, how's it going? You can see OBS there. I am just recording here, and what I want to do is just walk you guys through as I go. Sorry, I'm gonna split my gun out. When we're setting up a track, and so I'm just gonna talk you through that. The reason why I'm doing this is because we just need really good consistency in like the order, file storage, and the way that we do this, so that when anybody picks it up, they pick it up the same way. So I'm just going to talk about this as I go, and this will take a little bit of time. It's not really talking about it makes it take longer. So what I'm going to do is, hopefully you can see some of this stuff. We're going to pull up one of the songs that we don't have yet, which I believe Raise a Hallelujah is one that we don't have. So that one's going to be Raise a Hallelujah in A. We'll go ahead and go to the file. What we're doing right now is just setting up a track for a single song. And so it's pretty easy to do, but you're going to need to be on this page. Okay? So basically, we can see our arrangement that we've already created, our beats per minute, and our time signature. That's all important for Ableton. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go download the version of Raise a Hallelujah that we want. And so I think I'm going to need to sign in. And hopefully it doesn't show you my password. There we go. Okay. I don't even know if you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. Okay. Oh, let's see. That might be a problem. Okay, we'll work through this. Why don't we... Let's look here. Let me see if I can pause this. I'll pause the recording. We'll be back in a second. Okay, so we got we got back into this account here. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna try to find the song. So we're gonna look for Raise a Hallelujah. However you say that, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. And we're gonna look at this. Let's see which one is on Planning Center, because that's the one we're gonna want to use. So. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab this. This says this one. Let's see what we got. Hopefully it'll play. Let's see. Hold on. We're definitely gonna need those. I think I just turned them off. Give me a second. People, sorry. Okay, cool. That's the live version. Okay, so that's the one we're going to use, and you may not know that. So usually, if it's linked right, then it's easy to find. If you don't know, then you just kind of have to guess. So that's kind of part of it, but that ends up becoming the master version, and so hopefully we don't ever have to actually use. We only use those versions for references, not for our actual version. So that will make sense later. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to show in the iTunes store. And so basically we just need to purchase the song. And we will figure that out for if you're setting this up when we get there. So, okay, so we'll sign in and we'll purchase. And so, yeah, oh, man, this is Apple. Okay. Yeah, that should be fine. Security code. Oh, it's gonna make me. Doesn't want somebody else spending my money. Okay. All right. I'm gonna try to get that off of the screen. Yeah, I think I got it. Okay. Here I need to. I'm gonna make this black for a second. So I can do that without anybody seeing. Okay. Good, good, good. Okay. I'll bring it back whenever it's... Okay, there we go. Okay. So now let me make sure that that purchased. Go back to songs. We've got Raise the Hallelujah there. And so, okay, so now we're ready to go. We've got our song. Okay, so now we need to go to Ableton Live. And the biggest thing maybe about like the ongoing process is some of the small things are pretty easy to fix within the song. But one thing that's not super easy to fix is file storage. So that's going to be really important to get that right here at the beginning. And so what I have done here on Ableton, here's kind of the Finder area where you'll like find different files and things. I created just a collection, which you can just designate those by like selecting a folder, right-clicking it, and then choosing one of the colors, and then it'll assign it to that color. So for us getting started, we're going to use a template. And so under templates, there is the song template. So we'll click on song template. Okay, we're going to let that load. I'll do this in real time so you can see that. Sometimes it takes a second. Okay, so now once you open up a song template, you're going to see all these parts here. And these parts will match every other song template that we make until we change it, and then we'll deal with that when we get there. But in general, we'll keep this the same. This has our locator control, which is for inside of Ableton. Whenever we're setting up a worship service. Pro presenter control, changing slides automatically. The tempo master, which is a clip that tells Ableton what tempo you want it to be. Big click and big cues, those are regular clicking cues. They're full volume. And then the little click and little cues are low volume. And then a pad track, which pad track doesn't have anything in it. I haven't filled that yet, but I think we want that just so that if we do want to add a separate pad track on its own, other than what's already in Ableton, you can add that for transitions in between songs. So, okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to go and grab our file, which is Raise a Hallelujah. We'll just pick it up, hover on live, hover there, and we'll drop it in here, just like that. Okay. The other thing, if you remember, we looked at the Planning Center song, and it said the beats per minute was 82 at 4/4. So let's make sure we set live to 82 beats per minute. And if you notice that changed, because time and sound are related. So if you make it the file just longer, then it will slow it down. If you make it shorter, it'll make it higher pitched. I don't know if I said that right. Okay, so 82, and we're at 4/4. If you can see up here. So now we'll go here and let's just listen to this. Let's see what it sounds like. So that starts right off the bat. Okay. Okay. Cool. So that's sounding good. So the first thing we want to do is add a click and make sure our click lines up. So we will go to click and cues, and then we choose the appropriate time signature, 4/4. And we're going to grab, it's 82. Anything less than 100, you double, which is called subdivision. And we do want it accented, so we'll go ahead and do that. We'll drop that click in there. Now this is just a like MIDI file, and it's using this instrument down here to play the sounds. You don't need to worry about that. If you drop it in there, it's going to play. But you need to know that this can loop. So if you just grab the end of it, it's just going to play a click. It's just going to play that no matter where it is. Okay? And we're going to drag that the full length of our song because our song arrangement may change. Yeah, so there's that. So, but it's not in sync. Okay. So now this comes to a point where I'm going to add a couple clips, and it's just to kind of help us out. So we always start with another file, kind of like the click file, but it's just like all of these you can see on the left-hand side have labels. This one's called start. It just is a placeholder to give us a measure before anything begins. And I like to do that as just a normal, kind of just a habit a little bit. And then the first thing that happens typically in a song is the intro. So we'll drop in the intro one. So now this is what this sounds like.
Intro, 2, 3.
Oh, here, let's go from the beginning.
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. All right. I'm going to make sure we're still recording and good. Okay. Good. So so what we want is our intro to cue us before that section. And so we're going to put this right here. Right where that guitar part starts. And you can really zoom in. You can get right at the beginning of that. If you're pretty close, you'll probably be fine.
4.
See how I did that? As long as we got the beats per minute right, then we should be good to go. Yeah. Then another way you can test that is if you go to the end and it's still in sync. Sounds pretty good. Okay. Yeah. We'll turn that down just so that we can make sure you hear the click and cues. Okay. So yeah, so I think 82 is what they were using. If they're using a click, then it lines up really nice. Okay, so now at this point we're kind of set up to start charting the entire song out and get the arrangement in. So the way that typically people do that for this is they will use what's called a locator. And so there's this timeline bar here where it turns into a little speaker, and it also shows the bars. And so at each bar, as long as they played to a click and they didn't use any like 2/4 measures, every one beat should be right here on the first. Should be 1, like 3-1. If you look right here, should be beat 3, 3-1, 3-1-2, 3-1-3, 3-1-4, and then actually it's more like that. 3-3-2, 3-3, 3-4, and then 4. So 4 beats in a measure. Okay. So that first beat is going to be where our intro starts. So there. And then as you do this, you get really fast at it. But at the beginning, it's a little bit slower. So we'll play it, and then we'll go to the next section.
Intro.
And we'll add the next
2,
cue.
3, 4.
Here we go. Hopefully you can hear that. I'll turn it up a bit. So that's third measure. Okay. Okay, so he started with the chorus. So now, right where he started singing, it changed out of intro into chorus. So now we're gonna say chorus. Okay. So sorry, that's fast. You right-click and add a locator, and then it'll let you edit it immediately, and then you can just type in chorus. And I like to put them in all caps. That's kind of a personal thing, but it makes it pretty readable. So okay, so we'll delete this locator. That's how those work. And these you can actually pick up and move if you just grab the little the flag on them. Okay, so yeah, so he's gonna line up there. That's good to go. And then now we have to put the cue. So there. And as long as the end of that cue matches up with the beginning of the section, it should be good to go. So this is what it'll sound like if you do it that way. So before it starts,
chorus 2, 3, 4.
So all the cues are preceding the section because they're getting you ready to play that section. And then what I do is this click is looped. So if you drag it, it will continue to repeat. All of these down here are not looped. So when you fill up the space, I like to fill the gap there. You can see that only the MIDI information is there, and the rest of it doesn't have any information. And so that gives us a solid track, even though it's split into sections, but it tells us like the length of our section before we get another cue, and it makes things easy to organize that way instead of having a bunch of like deselected clips. Okay, so now at this point we just want to listen to the song
3, 4.
and add our cues. Oh, one thing. I'm going to go ahead and do this because I want to get this one right. It's helpful, especially because we're going to do A. It's helpful not only to have your sequence there, but it's also helpful just to go ahead and print the chart. Let me see if I have it here. Having the chart in front of you really helps. Here, I've got it. I don't even need to go print it. So I have the chart, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that back. Sorry, camera. And I'm going to sit here and watch. I'm going to watch as the lyrics happen, and that will help me chart this out the way that I intend to. If I already have an arrangement, other than that, I can actually just chart the song and use that as my arrangement, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, we'll keep going. Oh, and this is how you'd restart music from a spot. If you click just space, which is normal, it'll start from your original spot, which is somewhere back here. So here we go. Cool. What you'll eventually do is be like, this is taking way too long. You can kind of see where that chorus starts up there. Sounds so good. Here we go. Alright, I think I know where the chorus is, so I'm going to check. Is it right here? Yep. Okay, so then we add a locator. We type chorus. Ooh, I did the wrong thing over here. This is actually a verse, isn't it? So we'll change it. That happens sometimes. It's just most important to fix it as soon as you realize it. You guys are going, that's not the chorus. So verse. And then you can check. You can always check your cues.
3, 4.
See that? Okay. Now we're gonna do chorus. So we find our chorus cue. Drag it in. I think this is mostly helpful just to see like the flow of this, like how this works. So you drop it in and you drag it to extend the clip. Now this is just plug and chug. You just keep going. Okay, so that breaks down into a turnaround my chart. So we'll grab the turnaround. And once you're fast, you don't even have to stop. I'm just stopping because I want to talk. And so turn around.
3, 4.
Lower that volume a little bit. Okay, about to come back in. There it is. So we'll add a locator. Verse 2. Oh, the short key for that is Command R to rename. Okay, I think I got that on the wrong spot. Oh, I did. Okay. And we just put a regular verse section in there. You don't label it verse 2. You just let the band know that we're going back to the verse. They'll figure it out. Okay. So now we can advance a little bit, see where we are. Okay, that's halfway through. A little more than half. Okay, there it is. And we'll test it. Yep. So that's chorus. Is there a chorus too? No, just a chorus. Okay, so we're letting the chorus play out. Pull in our cue. There we go. And I usually like to extend that preemptively. Okay, so something's right there. This is like a breakdown. Is there a breakdown there? E1. Yeah. Or, so we can describe that in a couple different ways. Yeah, so really that's just like 2 turnarounds. So so we'll actually do, this is kind of a thing you figure out from just doing it, but we'll go ahead and add a turnaround there, right there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bring it down, and we're actually going to trim up that bring it down. So we've got bring it down is this note here, 2, 3, 4 is that note. And so if we want to, we can actually trim it down so it just says bring it down. And then we can drop the bring it down on top of there. Okay, so this is what it'll sound like.
Bring it down, turn around, 2, 3, 4.
So your count's still in time. It's still good. And then we're going to run that turnaround again. Oh, here's a cool thing. So if you pick up a clip and you keep a hold of it, if you hold Control on Windows, Option on Mac, it will copy and paste, or do like just a duplicate is what that is. So then you don't have to actually make a new clip.
Bring it down, turn around,
2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. This is a 2 measure turnaround.
turn around, 2,
there's another. Yep. Add a locator. Okay, and then I think it's here. Yep. That's bridge 1. Bridge 1. So we'll find bridge. Okay. So see how that whole section worked out that way. We gave our band some helpful information, especially because we probably plan on doing that every time. If we don't, we can just delete that cue. I've even added those sometimes in practice because it's like, oh, it's a little confusing. Let's add some helpful cue information, which is the purpose of cues anyways. So, okay, here we go. Sing a little louder. Okay, this is bridge 2. Okay. We'll just do bridge because band's keeping track of where the bridges are. Okay. And that's like call and response thing. Okay. There it is. Sorry, I shouldn't pick up my phone. Okay, there's where it starts. Bridge. And that's also bridge 2. That's important for our arrangement, not so important for our cues. Okay. And then it looks like we're going to have a tag coming up. It's helpful if you know the song, too. Okay, here we go. Tag. 2, 3, 4. There we go. I'm gonna sing. Okay, you see that? So what will eventually happen is you'll be able to guess, like, oh, this is where the cue is going to be. It's going to say tag, 2, 3, 4. Sing a little louder. I'm going to sing. So then chorus next. So
Tag 2, 3. Tag 2, 3.
I think it's going to be here.
Chorus 2, 3, 4.
Ooh. And actually, we're going to say down chorus there, which is, I love those. So down chorus. And we can put down chorus there too. And then this is what it's going to sound
2,
like.
3, 4.
Okay, so see, there's a big dynamic change. So we can say build it up there, and then, and this one doesn't even need a marker because it's not a real spot. Okay, so then we'll listen. I don't know where it's going to be.
Build it up.
Okay, here we go. Let's see where it needs to be.
Build it up.
Maybe right there. It can really go where you want it to go.
Build it up.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. Oh. Yeah, I don't know what to do there. We'll just copy and paste this. Oh, hey, there we go. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so we let it go on. Still in the chorus. There's our repeat chorus. There's the chorus. There's something there. What's happening? I think this is going to be our ending. Yeah. I gotta find. Oh, actually, you know what? That is called ending. There's not a cue for ending. So we'll just call it outro. Yeah.
Outro 2, 3, 4.
I think this is normally where we end the song. 2, 3, 4. Okay. And they do like a thing there. Okay. Okay, so what we might do, what we might do there is go ahead and chart out the rest of that song so that we have the original arrangement. If you know you're never going to use that, like if I'm sitting here going, I'm never going to use that, then I might just trim it off, which I might do. It's pretty easy. And it's kind of funny to listen to that, but it gets me going in terms of faith. It makes me want to sing. Yeah, so that's really just like some parts that we sort of opt out of. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so we'll just go ahead and hit that end.
N, 2, 3, 4.
And what we're trying to create is something for, okay, I know what we're gonna do. Okay, we're trying to create something for someone to use in an easy way, and so so we'll trim that up for this time because that's where our arrangement ends. And if we ever want to duplicate that outro part, we can do it again. But I actually like doing it just once and then hitting I think it hits the 4 chord, the C, or I guess it'd be D and A. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, because the rest of that is just kind of like copy and paste type of a situation where you're just like, oh, I got to put it in a locator. I need to add the cue. So now we're kind of getting into a little bit of the, I guess, the art part of it. So we're going to find where that last chord hits, and then we're going to trim it up so that our last chord is going to be earlier in the song, and we're going to delete that little like instrumental section part. So let's listen to it and find that last beat. Probably on 157, I guess. Probably. Yeah, nice big 4 chord end, right on 157. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll click down here on the actual track, and it needs to be open like this. Then you click on the waveform so that it makes a little mark, and then what we're doing is splitting. We're splitting this track, so we want to split. There's a couple ways you can do this. So you can split this here, and then you just want to drag this to your end portion there, just like that. And it's funny, like those things, hopefully it works out, but these things will just sound like they're already, like they were recorded that way. So here we go.
N, 2, 3, 4.
See, so that's how we want people to practice, and we'll just let it fade out and make sure yeah, that's another thing. Okay, we're gonna pull that back a little bit. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now we want to clean up these edges and make sure that they all end at the same exact portion, because that helps you figure out problems later. If you do that in this step, then if they're all wacky later when you're trying to import them, then you can find those problems. So we'll make sure and set our fade there. Some of the stuff you'll figure out how to do, but set your fade like that so that it actually fades to 0. You can start that how early you want. If you don't see those little handles, sometimes this is on and it'll look different. So that's your toggle right there. If you don't have it there, then you just click that and see if then you can get it. But yeah, that's just something you learn too. Okay, so then we don't really need to do anything else. Like this would work. This if we just did it just exactly like this. Let's talk about some things that just help you later. So we're gonna put our marker there, just like we did kind of before. And then we're going to select this whole thing by holding Shift and clicking down at the end here. Just make sure you get every single thing. And we're gonna turn this into one solid waveform. And the way that we do that is called consolidating. And so at this step, we have all our cues and everything in. now we want to make this a solid bar the same way that we made everything else the same time length. Okay, so that we can match all those up. Actually, that's why I think I extend the cues out, because the end cue has to have an end somewhere, and it's helpful to see the beginning and the end of a section, even whenever you lose the locators. You'll lose the locators later on, and so we put them in there to help map it out, and you can see it well, labeled really well, but where the actual section starts, and then the next one is where the next section starts, if that makes sense. So the end and the beginnings are all matched up whenever you have locators. So when you're doing, sorry, that was a lot. When you're doing individual song adjustment, those locators are nice, but you don't absolutely need them, but we're going to do them. So, okay, we're going to consolidate this one. So remember, we multi-selected or shift-clicked. That just selects a range instead of an individual track. Then you will do consolidate after you right-click on that. Just make sure it's all selected, only one track. Then we'll consolidate. We'll let that consolidate. And I'll show you what happens once you consolidate it. Okay. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so see if we investigate this. So now I added some blank space there, but now we have time, so we know the exact beginning of the track. And then here, it's kind of filling out the waveform. This is the exact end of the track. And we can't make this longer either, which is another nice thing. So you can't mess it up. It's sealed. So if it's already messed up, that's bad. But it won't affect our Apple Music file, which is great. Only the one that we brought in here. It's basically a copy. So now, at this point, it's almost done, other than saving. We'll go ahead and fold that up. Okay, so that's kind of what you want to look like at the end. The thing that I forgot to do at the beginning was the tempo master. Can't forget that. So now we're just double checking all of our stuff to make sure everything's right. So one thing we're going to do to this track, ooh, it's already warped. Okay. What I was going to tell you to do is to warp this, which maybe it warped it whenever we consolidated it. But you want to warp these, but you want to make sure that they have the right time signature there. So this is warped. If warp is lit up when you double click this, if warp is lit up, that means that it has made a bunch of markers of where the time is, and it's according to a specific beat per minute that you know the track was recorded at. You can figure those out. It's a little bit harder that way, and then you can make adjustments to make it fit if you don't know the exact one. We won't talk about that today, but down here, the beats per minute is 82, so we are good to go there because that's what we figured out was the same. It shouldn't automatically warp. If it does, then you need to make a settings change. So it's warped. We're good to go there. So now, this is why this is important. So I'm pretty sure that this is not in the key of A, and we really need it to be in A because that's the one that we're making. So if we play the song, and I will change the pitch here, this is why we need warping. So I can click pitch here. We'll change the pitch. Yeah. So now we can get it into the key of A, which, let me show you what I normally do to find the key. If I don't know it off the top of my head or it's not written somewhere, then I actually just open up GarageBand and find a piano. I can show you that. Let's see. So, let me see. I don't even know if I can. Yeah, can you see that? Okay, that's all I use. It's super easy. So the easiest way to do that is just to hit. Oh, I think it's C. So you just hit a note and you play. Yeah. Okay, so D flat. So if you can hear that.
Chorus 2.
Yeah.
3.
I watched a video where someone was saying this is how you find the key, and basically you listen to the song and you hum the first note that comes into your mind, and sometimes that's the key. So if you don't have the key, sometimes you go and then find the key that way. Go then find it here. When it matches up, then you know what the key is. And if you know what the notes on a piano, D flat. Okay, so what we're gonna do to get this in A is we're gonna count our half steps down. So we're gonna go 1 half step, 2 half step, 3 half step, 4 half step to get to A. Okay, so if we know this is C, that's important. So C, B, A. Okay, because those are the not flat and sharp, those are the flat and sharp. So D flat, C, that's 1, 2 to B, 3 to B flat, 4 to A. Okay, so that means we need to pitch that down by four steps. Well, this is in half steps. So now we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll play. Yeah, and it sounds right. Okay, can you put that away? So now we've got another problem. It sounds like the Hulk is singing. Okay, so this is how we fix that. So just on this track, under our warp section, we can actually go to complex. These are warp modes, and the higher you get, the more like CPU usage you get. So if you set it to Pro just off the bat, then it will use a lot of CPU unnecessarily. But for this case, anytime there's like a voice, I just go Pro. So typically you would want to go through beats, tones, texture, all the way up to Pro, and then Pro should sound close to perfect, but warping is not always a perfect thing. So, okay, so we're just going to click that. Now we're going to listen to it. I kept it at -4, which is the key that we're doing it in. So now listen to it. So it's not perfect. But it helps someone practicing. They feel like they're okay practicing. So that's kind of our goal here, is to get someone practicing. So okay, so let's move those sheets to the side. I'm pretty sure our arrangement is good on this song, but you're gonna want to double check that. So now that we have that, we're in the key of A. Now it's time for saving. This is kind of what I'm sorry, Tempo Master. Let's do that real quick. Then we'll save the song. So under our track build section with the red dot, where we have these folders, we have the Tempo Master folder. And the Tempo Master is just a blank clip that I made so that you can set the tempo. And I'll show you what that means. So we'll grab this clip and pull it in on the Tempo Master track. And it's going to come in being exactly 1 bar of length. Okay? And so right now, this is set to warp, which is correct. It started out at 120 beats per minute. So it's saying this segment is 120 beats per minute, even though it has no content. So it's just time information. So now, the same as the click track, we're going to make this the length of our song exactly. Okay. And then what we want to do is, now we don't need to worry about the warp modes or anything, but we do need to change the beats per minute to 82, because that's what our intended beats per minute is. And then we're going to set this follow button down here to lead. Okay, and if you notice up here in the corner, that's gonna go dark, because it's gonna be no longer the master. The master is this clip. Okay, so now all of these are following this Tempo Master. Once we get out here, it should let go of that, or if we have another Tempo Master that comes in, it will revert to whatever is the clip that's playing, that's labeled the leader. So this one's lead. So we should be good to go there. So that's all you do on that, really. I set up this clip to where it has a lot of time to hopefully cover all of the tempos that you might even want to put in. So 82 beats per minute and leader. Okay, and that one is looping. That's a note. You can see if it's looping or not down here. See, the verses are not looping, or those cues are not looping. The click is looping, and the Tempo Master is looping. So that allows you to make it infinitely long, whatever you want to do there. And if you want to change the tempo, you can just add a new Tempo Master clip and change the tempo that way. So, okay. yeah. So now we're gonna save. So this is like the last part. How long have we been going? 40 minutes. Wow. Okay. I'll put in some markers so you can skip around. Hopefully, if you're watching this, that you are learning something and it's awesome. Okay, so now we're going to go to this folder here, tracks. And if you look, we don't have a Raise a Hallelujah yet because I've not made this one yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to, I thought we could right click, maybe right click there. Yeah, we want to just add a new folder. It doesn't really matter where it is, but we're going to add it here. And we're going to call this Raise a Hallelujah.